Last year's Google Pixels replaced the Nexus line as the de facto flagships for stock Android purists, and they ended up being some of the best phones on the market, so naturally we were excited to get our hands on their sequels. Our full reviews are coming soon, but I've spent the weekend with the smaller Pixel 2, and I've got some thoughts. I'll say right away that I'm not a fan of this phone's hardware. Just like last year's Pixel, the Pixel 2 is made of aluminum, which I generally like the feeling of more than glass, but the coating that sits on top of it makes it feel sort of plasticky and, well, just not like an HTC built phone. Still, I like that it's a matte finish, and the coating actually covers up the antenna lines, which is kinda nice. What isn't nice though is the huge downgrade in tactile response from the power and volume buttons, which were super clicky last year, and now they're just mushy, further contributing to the feeling of an overall lower build quality. Oh, and you know how a ton of people complained about the iPhone-like bezels on the original Pixel? Well, it's almost like HTC took that as a challenge and made them even worse on the Pixel 2. On the bright side, you do get front-facing speakers out of it, and they get nice and loud with a clear mid-range, though there's absolutely zero bass response. Real quick with some smaller details, squeezing the phone to launch Google Assistant is weird. Haptic feedback is pretty good, but not as good as the LG V30 or iPhone 8. The display is also not as good, but 1080p actually looks great at this screen size. It's also very comfortable to use in one hand, and I'm delighted that it's finally water resistant, though wireless charging would be great for next year. Alright, enough dumping on the hardware, it's time we look at the real reason you would buy this phone, the software. The Pixel 2 runs a slightly tweaked version of Oreo with some nice new fonts, a condensed power menu, and finally a black theme system-wide. Boot up time is ridiculously fast, and so is the setup process. It automatically put all of my apps in the same place I have them on my Pixel XL, and Google signs into every app for you. It's really great. Of course, the search bar has been moved from the top of the home screen down to the bottom, which doesn't look as good in my opinion, but it's much more accessible now. You also get a nice new collection of animated wallpapers, and I've been enjoying this one of Earth, which helps take advantage of the AMOLED display. Now, the camera was one of the best parts of last year's Pixel, so we had pretty high hopes for the camera in the Pixel 2. I haven't had much time to take photos of landscapes or test out its video performance yet, but I really wanted to spend some time with its new portrait mode since it only uses one lens and machine learning, and it's actually really good. Like all artificial bokeh effects, this one isn't perfect, and there's the occasional stitching error, especially around hair, but more often than on any other phone I've used, the Pixel 2 gets it right on the first attempt. Some of the shots look absolutely stunning coming from a phone, and even the front camera does portrait mode, which adds a whole new level of flair to your selfies. I also like that you can take motion stills directly in the camera now, and they automatically import into the Motion Stills app. Best of all, you can view portrait photos and motion stills exactly the same way from a non-Pixel phone like this LG V30 through Google Photos. It's still a little early for me to comment on things like battery life and software bugs, but I can at least say that so far I haven't had an issue with either. I still don't love the hardware, but the camera alone is already making the Pixel 2 hard for me to put down. Again, our full review is coming soon, but if you pre-ordered a Pixel 2, hopefully this video gives you an idea of what you can expect. And if you pre-ordered a 2XL, we've got another early impressions video with Ben's thoughts. Thanks for watching everybody, and we'll see you next time.